borderless Africa, an Africa where we can travel and do business without restrictions. We want a free Africa, an Africa that is not controlled by IMF and World Bank and Britain and USA behind the country. We must resist external influence in the affairs of Africa. Somebody, a great thinker, said, no nation has got the right to make decisions for another nation. No people have got the right to make decisions for other people. The IMF, the World Bank, the Britain and USA and other powerful nations have been making decisions for Africa. For so long, for 400 years now, the black man has never been free. The black man is still in chains. The black man is still in bondage. The Africa of today is still mercilessly and cruelly exploited by foreign powers at the behest of our leaders. Our leaders are mere puppets and stooges of the West. They do not serve the interests of the young people, but rather they serve the interests of their own imperial masters. Colonialism never really ended, and Africans must get this. We are still being colonized. The colonialists went out through the front door, but came back through the back door. I think it was a Zambian vice president, Joseph somebody, who said that if you are not careful, the colonialists will come back to Africa as an investor. And that is sadly what happened to Africa. Many of the businesses here in Africa, here in Kenya, are multinationals or are controlled by multinationals. They are the people who steal our resources. They are still who control our sugarcane, our coffee, our tea. That is why we have killed our farmers. Our farmers are hopeless. Our mothers die. They labor and they sweat all day. They trade all day, but they die. Why? Because we are still being controlled by IMF and World Bank. That is why corruption cannot end in Africa. Because the system of the white man is ruling us. That is why people have come to a point where they believe that corruption is normal. It is not normal. It is an evil that must die before we can achieve peace. Colonialism may be that corrosive evil which must die, corruption, which must die before we can achieve peace. Corruption has reduced us into beggars in our own land, in our own country. We are the natives of this country. I want somebody to understand. We are the natives of this country. And the natives are now restless. And you cannot stop them. We are the original owners of this land. But now this land is being controlled by foreigners. Foreigners who are ruling us. That is why IMF and World Bank can force policies down the throats of our leaders, and they cannot resist them. Our leaders cannot resist IMF and World Bank. Remember people like Thomas Sankara. These are people who should have steered Africa to greater heights. Kwame Nkrumah, Samora Machel. But why do you think they were killed? They were killed to allow the departing colonialists to put their stooges in African countries. African leaders are nothing but mere puppets and stooges of the West. Africa is nothing but a cake for the West. They steal our resources. Look at Congo, a classic example of how Africa is exploited and how we die through conflict of not of our own making. These conflicts in Congo and other countries, African countries, are fueled by greedy brothers, the capitalists who will stop and nothing to make profits. They make profits out of the lives of the people. They kill people to make profits. That is what's happening. That is what capitalism is. Capitalism is the same as slavery. There's no difference. It's the same as colonialism. There is no difference. That's why I'm saying, my people, we must unite and speak to one another. We must reason with one another. Let me tell you what those who control the world have done. They have killed the power of reasoning in the minds of the people. We cannot reason together, but we are human beings. Somebody said that man is the only animal that kills its own kind and destroys his own environment. Why do we kill one another like animals? Even animals do not do that. Why do we kill one another? For power, for money. And this life is so soft. I mean, we must come out of this mental slavery. We must teach our people the truth. Only the truth shall set us free. And I think something is happening in the minds of Africans. This is catching up in Uganda here, there, also out in the streets, in Tanzania, in other African countries. Uganda, yeah. People are waking up. So let us not lose this movement. African youth, let us not lose this movement. I'm telling you, the problem is the people, yeah. But still, we must resist these systems that prevent us from creating our own dreams. These institutions that stop us from creating our own dreams, from being authentic, from being original. My God, black people are wise people. We used to have systems of governance, but they are not created as today, as the governments of today. There was that kind of African brotherhood in the past societies, and they shared together what little they had. But now capitalism has created too much individualism. It has killed the collective that used to guide the past African societies. And unless we revive this collective humanity, we are not going to get an answer to what we are doing. We are going to be in the streets. Our youth are going to be killed. But we are not going to get an answer to this issue, because we need to come out and think together. Martin Luther King Jr. said, there is nothing as dangerous in this world as sincere ignorance and concerned stupidity. There's nothing that pains some people in the world than the idea of having to think. Hardly will you find men who willingly engage in hard, solid thinking. There is an almost universal quest for easy answers and hard-baked solutions. But on this question, bad governance in Africa, my people, there will be no any easy way out. Let me tell you, they are fighting back. That's why they are sending the DCI and the INS to kill youth. Innocent youth, innocent demonstrators. Tell me, why did Denzel Omondi have to die? He did not deserve to die. Denzel Omondi died because we failed him. We are failing our people. We have failed them as humanity. Denzel Omondi was a JQuest student who I hear because I was there at the vigil, that he was shot and killed by the Kenya police in the week that he was going to graduate. What pain are we living with? With the pain in these parents' hearts. How can it be healed? How will it be ever healed? How will the parents of Denzel Omondi ever understand that he had to die because he was standing up for what is right? And let me tell you another thing, and you must work around this. Evil lurks in the darkness. When we stop what we are doing together, they'll continue hunting people down individually and killing them. I heard that the people who entered parliament, they are being hunted down and killed by the DCI and the INS. You know why it's happening? They are following the weak people. It's the same way something like a lion behaves. It goes after gazelles, but it must separate them to get the weak one. That's why I say evil lurks in the darkness. So my people, this is our duty. This is our work, to stand up for our people, for our children. It is so sad that they had to die. It's so sad that the Rex had to die. His life got shot by a police bullet. Police were supposed to protect lives and to protect and defend lives. The Constitution says that. But Kenya has become a police state, and we have allowed that to happen. And as they say, they are going for the weak. That's why I'm saying, let me say, they're asking for the organizers of these things. Like now, I don't like mentioning names, but why would the police go for Denzel Omondi, who had maybe come for just one single demonstration, and he was singled out for killing? And why did they leave out somebody like Boniface, who is vocal in organizing these things? I like what Boniface does, but I'm trying to show you how the system takes advantage of the people's disunity. As long as we are not united, this will continue happening. We will continue burying people. Let me tell you, it will not stop. We will continue burying our youth unless we stick together and raise a debate, a conversation that will rescue us from our evil leaders, from this evil regime. We are dealing with an evil system, a very evil system that we must all organize around together and bring it down in a way of letting our hearts, our minds, and our souls to wake up. I mean, we must teach our people the truth, educate our people, exhort our people, and enlighten our people, and bring our people out of mental slavery. Africa shall be free. Kareme Ndudu was killed by Moi's agents, was standing up against the excesses of the government during Moi's time. Kareme Ndudu said that change, like death, is inevitable. But it's so sad that they have taught us to believe that we cannot be able to bring change in our lifetimes. That is a lie that we must fight and destroy if we are to save this nation. God, we need some power to fight this evil. God, we need some power to bring down this system. And for us to have this power, we must unite as African brothers and sisters. Unite the same way our fathers did against the colonialists. These are the same evils, the same injustices that have been committed today in Kenya. They are the same injustices that were committed by the colonialists against our fathers. But nobody talks about this. They do not talk about the genocide that happened in Africa. We are still people who are still living with colonial trauma, because what happened during the fight for independence, the struggle for independence, has never been addressed. We are a nation that keeps on postponing injustices. And I didn't know that this had to happen. It was a time bomb. African youth, African people, that's a ticking time bomb.
You were arrested. What happened after you have been arrested?
Okay, I was arrested and I was taken to Central Police Station. Then I think the next day there were knockouts. That's the time when a magistrate was murdered in Makandara by a police officer. You remember that?
Yeah.
And I tried to address that issue in court, but they wouldn't listen to me, because the system does not want the truth to be known, or the people, the ordinary people, to know the truth. I asked them, is this the kind of system that you want us to live in? The kind of unjust system? And so I was arrested, taken there. I was taken to court, but there are no court. So I was taken back to Central Police Station. But then I went and they brought lawyers. There was a lawyer handling the case. But I told the lawyer I want to speak for myself, because I don't want to betray my conscience. They wanted me to say that I was not the one who was trying to snatch that finance bill, what is it called, finance bill box. I mean the budget, the budget box. So they wanted me to deny that I was the one. But I told my lawyer, I can't betray my conscience. I'm the one who was there. And I had reasons, valid reasons for doing that. I'm angry and bitter because of what is happening in our country. And also the Kenyan people are bitter. And I told them, we will continue doing this more and more. I want to encourage people to do this more and more, to stand up for themselves.
Where did you want to take the budget after
I wanted to run
snatching
away with it, to make a statement. I thought it would be a very big statement, so that we could sit down as a nation and speak to one another, and wake up our sleeping people. And so, I was taken. You asked me where I was taken. I was taken to court, but when I resisted the lawyer to represent me, I spoke for myself and I told them what I felt in my heart. The judge said I should be taken for a mental examination. Madare Hospital. So I was taken back to Central Police Station. I stayed there for a week, all week, because there are no courts going on. But then eventually I was transferred to Kamukonji that night when there was a demonstration in town. So the next day I was taken to Madare for mental examination. But the people in Madare said they are not doing that at this time. They don't have the machines for doing forensics. And so we were referred to Mama Lucy for the examination. But the people in Mama Lucy said they don't even do that examinations. They don't, not only the machines or the equipment, they don't even have doctors. And they have communicated quite often to the people in Madare that they do not do mental assessment. So we were referred back to Madare. In Madare they said, no, we are not doing it this time, maybe later, you can come later. So the police officers got angry and they took me back to Central Police Station. The next day I was presented to court. The police wanted to be given more time to take me back to Madare. But the judge said I should go on and plead the case. And take guilty plea. It's called a plea guilty. Yeah, so
now you have no case?
I have a case.
You have a case?
That is 2nd September, I think.
Yeah.
I have another case at 29th September, still at Milimani.
The same case of snatching the finance.
Another different one.
Or different one.
Yeah. But still involving the same struggle.
Oh, the one that you had tied yourself there. What about the one that you had tied yourself there?
That one was thrown out a long time ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
How can you address the situation today in Nairobi?
The situation today is so sad. What I've seen in this country is so sad. Because I believe Africans are fighting one another. And it's very sad. And I think this is happening because of ignorance. Why should we fight one another? Why should we kill one another? These goods are being used. I don't know why it happens in Kenya. We are fighting for a common cause. And so we should not allow those people who do not understand to divide us. As I said, the worst enemy at this time are not the ignorant and the simple people, cruel as they are, or cruel as it is. But the worst enemy at this time are the intelligent and the corrupt people, leaders who are in power, who have made this situation what it is today. Because this happened because of corruption.
Except from you, do you think today are there genuine protesters?
I do believe, because if you can look at when this protest started, the first 2 or 3 protests, they were very peaceful. Nothing was destroyed. People just walked it together and with the placards and all that. Nothing was destroyed. But then I think the 3rd or the 4th time, politicians infiltrated the protests by sending goons, by paying goons. They are paying goons with our money to come and stop the people's cause. But I don't think this time it will be stoppable. You cannot stop an idea whose time has come.
How do you know they have been paid?
That is, I can explain to you, that is how politicians work. You've seen them during election time. What do? They go to get voters even from villages and pay them and ferry them in vehicles to turn to vote for them. That's the same thing they are doing, paying goons to come and divide the people and stop the people. I remember one time Koigi Wamwere started a political party, and you know what the rich people said to him? They called, I think it was called Poor People's Revolution, but they tarnished the name of the movement, because rich people do not want to see poor people coming up with their initiatives. I've tried very many times to reach politicians, but they do not want a person who is woke, a person who is demanding for something, a person who is saying this is not right, this is not going right, what this system is doing to the people is not right. They don't want that, and that is what we must stop. We must take control of things. We are human beings, we are all human beings, and we have our dreams, we have our hopes, we have our aspirations, but all these have been curtailed by greed and gratitude of the leaders in power, the people in power. That is why we are in the streets fighting, because of corruption. Corruption is greed. These people are greedy dogs and hungry hyenas who will destroy this country if we do not stop them. And I believe corruption can end. It's so sad that we have normalized corruption in Kenya. Surely, as a nation, it's very sad. It's something I don't know why it happened. I don't know why we elect criminals and thieves in power. I don't know why. I don't know what makes that to happen anyway. And so I believe unless we truly educate our people and massively bring our people to understand the issues involved, we'll be in for a long haul. Because I believe we have not matured. Actually, Africans have not matured. Let not anybody tell you that in 2027 we'll punish the leaders. We will not. They still control their systems, and they will have a way of steering the elections and mishandling the elections or tampering the elections to get their own candidates into power.
That means you're not afraid.
I am not.
You're not afraid anymore.
Afraid of what? I'm not afraid.
Are you not?
I've been arrested so many times. I can't even count. I've been taken to court so many times. I'm not afraid. And we must tell our people that fear is an illusion. Fear is just an illusion that they have created to control the world.
So that means you're telling still your children, your siblings to come and protest?
Yeah, I want everybody. This has to be, it is for Africa. It is time for Africa. It's time for black people to resist and stand up and let us get our Africa back into our own hands. I mean, we must free Africa from these bloodthirsty capitalists whose only interest is profits.
So what's your main aim today?
My main aim is to make people understand that one thing, I don't want this to take too much time, because the more time is taking, the more lives we are losing, and it's so sad that people are being killed. In fact, this is the issue that we should be addressing right now. The issue that should be on everyone's lips, because nobody deserves to die. There's no justification whatsoever for killing innocent youth and protesters. There's no justification. Protesting is a constitutional right. Because we know that, we think when we come out to protest that we are criminals. But our leaders must also understand that when we are protesting, we are trying to bring them down to our level so that we can expose the issues that are troubling us in our minds and that are vexing our hearts.
Okay, that means on the reign of your cases, are you not using your resources on that?
I've never used my resources. I've been okay. The times that I've been given cash bill, I've been bailed out by the human rights defenders, the Defenders Coalition, and also many times I'm arrested, but they are not. Many of the times there are no cases that are preferred against me because they know what I'm doing is right. Okay. Even the police most of the time tell me what you're doing is right, but we must arrest you because we are.
So that means even
we are following orders. Yeah.
That means the police are on your same nini.
Some of them, not all of them. You know, where there is a system, there must be good people and some bad people. So there are some people who understand what we are doing, but there are some people who do not understand, and these are the people who want to make understand. I believe that if we can make everyone involved in this understand the human relations involved, then we can be able to free ourselves as well as free our enemies from themselves. That is what must happen in Africa. That is what must happen in our country.
Are you advocating that the president should step down?
Exactly, immediately. I think, in fact, it should have happened like yesterday. He should resign now to prevent more tragedies, more deaths, and more acrimony. And this standoff is not good. It's not good for a country. In fact, if you listen, the shilling is losing its value against the dollar, isn't it? So the economy is crumbling because we are fighting against one another. Why should we fight? We are people of one nation. Why should we keep fighting against one another? What we want is peace, justice, and equality. But for peace to prevail, there must be justice.
Okay, if I can ask, now if you can see, the finance bill was being withdrawn, right?
Yeah.
What do you think if the president would have withdrawn before the protesters have entered into the parliament?
I don't think he should have done that. Okay, if he should have done that, maybe he should have avoided this. But the thing is, politicians do not learn. We have seen politicians talking arrogantly and saying that I cannot resign. I cannot resign. You know, an elected leader saying that in Africa. I think it was David Muiraria. You remember that? That is how politicians are. All of them, they're like that. They are very arrogant. And this pride is what had destroyed life.
Okay. Do you think that you could be here right now? Yes. The situation that we are right now as a country, if the president would have withdrawn before the protesters coming out to the streets?
I think we should not be in this situation. So they are the ones who have created the situation. Okay. So they must take responsibility for this. It's because of them it's happened. It's because of their arrogance. It's because they have refused to listen to people. If you listen to Mr. Orekina, he's called Wood, Oredama,
Oredama Orekina.
Yeah. There's a time that he said that the public participation, it happens, but what the people present are not put into consideration. The issues that people bring are not put into consideration. Okay. So our leaders are playing with our minds. They are always playing games on our minds. And these games are detrimental to our well-being, to our lives as a nation, to our people's well-being.
So that means you're saying Ruto should resign?
He should resign and get out of power. And this must happen. It's not something that we are begging for. We are demanding. We are demanding. The people have spoken clearly and loudly. They have said we do not want you in power. I don't know, why should you insist on being in power? Why should you insist on destroying a country because you want to cling to power? Why? Is there a valid reason?
But do you think it's possible?
Let's start believing it's possible. I believe it's possible. And this is nonsense that we have been taught, a fallacy that has been taught to us Africans, that African leaders cannot leave power either honorably or by force. by being forced out by the people.
Okay.
Let it happen. Let it be something that a first time. Yeah, we'll be proud to have changed the history. Yeah, it will be something that will be written in history books.
Have you ever seen anything good with any government? Because in my view, you have been protesting since the Uhuru time.
Yeah, I've never seen anything good with the government because, as I told you, I believe we are still not free. We are still being colonized. We are still being, I mean, there's that issue of external influence in the African affairs. That is why we are not developing. That is why Africa's majority of poor people, majority of Africans are poor 60 years after independence. This is something very simple if you can engage your mind and get to think seriously about it. I don't know why Africans, you know, the first time I came with this this message, I thought Africans would come and unite and rally around this issue and fight together to free this country. But it's so sad. I think we have been brainwashed for so long that we do not have any hope. But I believe that hope should not die. We should not let hope die.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
I have a question.
Yeah.
I've been seeing you demonstrating so many times. Do you think when you continue with the demonstration, you get a solution?
Yeah, I think we'll get it. Because one thing, nobody knew that this would happen. Nobody knew the Gen Zs would come out and enter parliament and do what they did. And now our leaders are free. In fact, they have panicked. You see, nobody knew Kenyans could do that. So everything happens at its own time. I think there's a wind blowing, a wind of change, and we cannot resist that wind because we have committed so many injustices. I believe even our land is crying out for healing. That's what I'm speaking about. Yes, we need healing. We need closure to these things because we cannot allow people to destroy our lives as we look and do nothing. Yeah, it's sad, very sad.
Lastly, what do you do to earn a living?
I'm a hawker in the CBD, so I sell second-hand tobacco. But now business is solo. I remember when I started, the business was very good. People used to get a lot of money. But now the business is solo. Why? Because of corruption. That's why I'm in the streets. Yeah. So it's so sad that we have no managed corruption as a country, as a people. It's so very sad. And that we elect leaders who are corrupt and evil. Because we have refused to address these issues. It's just about coming to a table and speaking about this. I believe it's time for that.